Chad, if Chad would just stand by, we've got Jonathan Turley on the phone, constitutional law attorney and a Fox News contributor, and really the expert that we want in this moment, because without seeing the breakdown, Jonathan, of the vote, it's hard to know maybe what the message is politically from the court about this, or how to sort of time out what impact this is going to have on the election.
I think that's right. I think that part of the dynamic here is that the special counsel was asking to effectively leapfrog over the D.C. Circuit in order to get a judgment as quickly as possible. Jack Smith has made very clear that he wants this case tried before the election. And what a lot of us have said is that it's unlikely that many of the justices have the same sense of urgency, because Trump would be eligible for the presidency even if he were convicted. And regular order demands usually that the court hears from the appellate court. Mm-hmm. Now, the impact of this decision on Smith is going to be anything but good. I mean, the reason he was so insistent on leapfrogging the D.C. Circuit is that he believes that this could end up endangering the March trial date. Now, that date, if you remember, was shoehorned by the court just before Super Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Everything has been frozen since the court looked at this question. So he may indeed lose that March date, and then it's a real problem. You go right over a cliff, because this is a very jammed calendar. So it's not clear if he could fit a trial between that date and the election.
Yeah, so March 4th is the date that he wanted to get things going. The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals has said that it's going to hear oral arguments on the 9th of January on an expedited basis. It sounds like it's going to be before a three-judge panel, not an en banc hearing. Two of the three judges, apparently, that will be involved in this are Biden appointees. So reading the tea leaves there, Jonathan, what does that suggest?
Well, the D.C. Circuit was always a good court for Jack Smith. He cannot do better than the D.C. Circuit to hear this case. Mm-hmm. The problem for Jack Smith is that he knows that whatever the D.C. Circuit decides, there's likely to be an appeal. So he was willing to give up what many people assumed would be a favorable decision in order to maximize a favorable calendar. Now, what happens now is not going to work as planned for Jack Smith. Once they hear this case in January, they have to write the opinion. They'll do that as quickly as possible. But then Trump's people can do what's called an appeal in bank, which is to ask the court as a whole to look at this question before they appeal to the Supreme Court. That will take time. And then if the in-bank accepts the case, then he'll never see a March trial. But then at that point, the Trump people can apply to the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of runway now between him and that March date that he's got to be able to cross. And the odds are he's not going to be able to stick the landing. He's going to lose that March date. Keep in mind, because everything has been frozen in D.C., there's a lot of work that still has to be done for the trial. So as soon as all of this is done, it's got to go back to the court, and they've got to decide what they have time for in terms of that trial. So the odds, if you're going to Vegas right now, are not on Jack Smith for a March trial.
Given all that, Jonathan, do you think this was the appropriate decision from the court, or does it surprise you at all?
It doesn't surprise me. I said this a few days ago, that I thought that the correct decision of the court was to turn down this request, because in many ways, it was baffling to read Smith's filing. He kept on telling the court, it must be done fast, it must be done fast, but he's really short on explaining why. He just says, well, this is a case of great importance. But for the court, they will look at that and say, well, usually that's why we want to hear from lower courts, that important things should be handled in a proper way. And what Smith cannot come out and say is, I don't want to have a trial after the election, because if Trump is elected, the new attorney general could scuttle this special counsel, or Trump could give himself a pardon. So if it goes beyond the election, Jack Smith may never see a jury in this case.
So there's one other point too. So if this goes through the 3-judge panel at the D.C. Circuit, then it goes to an en banc hearing, and then there's an appeal to the Supreme Court, you start to head toward this date of 6 months before the election. And there's kind of an unwritten rule at the DOJ that you don't want to bring a prosecution within 6 months, or some sort of investigation or whatever within 6 months of an election, because that could taint voters' minds. So does he have until May 5th to get this done, or he's got to wait?
Yeah, that policy has never been etched in stone. And so the policy for the Department of Justice has been to avoid any trial or major litigation before an election. But Jack Smith has already eviscerated that policy. Every filing he makes, he's been trying to get this trial before Super Tuesday, before the general election. So he's really flipped the script here. And I think that that's going to become more and more problematic for Jack Smith as he gets closer to the general election itself. Because once again, people are going to be asking, why? Why are you doing this? And you have to be able to say something other than, this is a really important case. Because there's lots of important cases. The question is, why is it important to try it before the election? And the best he can come up with is, the voters should know if the president, if a candidate is a felon. But once again, that policy that you noted, John, is set to avoid that, right? The Department of Justice does not want their cases to influence elections. Because even if Trump is convicted, there are major appellate issues that would have to be litigated, and any conviction could easily be thrown out. So there's a long road ahead for Jack Smith. And, he was trying to do this as a sprint, and he has suddenly found himself in a marathon.
So if you had a crystal ball, what would you predict happens next?
I think that it would be quite surprising that they could still hold that March date. And once the March date is gone, I would bet against a trial before the election. If you remember, when the March date was selected, they had to fit it into a rather tiny window before Super Tuesday. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, this guy's dance card is pretty jammed up. I mean, this is not the only case he's facing, in addition to running for office. So the district court judge was criticized by some for squeezing this in before Super Tuesday. If the judge now finds another small window right before the general, there's going to be a concern that this is just trying too hard to get a trial right before the election. So I think that the bets are that this could very well kick beyond the election. We'll have to see. The D.C. Circuit, we will look at when that opinion comes down. You have to factor in a few weeks for a possible in-bank appeal. And then we'll be back in front of the Supreme Court, which has already indicated that it does not share the urgency of the special counsel.
All right. Well, Jack Smith gets a lump of coal for Christmas. Jonathan, thank you for your learned legal opinion. We'll be right back.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.